The movie opens with an angel standing atop a building, quietly watching over the vast city below. His name is Gabriel. He observes the disparity of the city and its people as he lives among them, unseen but ever present. Gabriel watches everyone closely and often saves them from certain death. Sometimes he even sits invisibly in the passenger seat of cars, protecting distracted drivers who use their phones while driving. One day, a man named Arj was driving while texting. He had just been fired from his job and was ready to give up on life, but Gabriel signaled him in time and saved him from an accident. Later, Arj is seen waiting in a long queue for some buns. He was being paid just to stand in line for someone else. He does all kinds of small tasks to survive, working as a task sergeant and taking up any gig he can find. Despite his efforts, he barely earns enough, and his American dream remains only a dream. When the buns run out for the day, a wealthy investor whose order Arj had been waiting on arrives and gets the last ones. Gabriel quietly watches Arj's silent struggle. Later, while having lunch, Arj is approached by a woman named Elena, who tries to talk to him about work conditions and forming a union. Arj replies that he's just a part-time worker, and Elena leaves. That night, Arj eats dinner at a small local shop where, by coincidence, Elena is also present. Arj invites her to share his meal, and the two have a pleasant conversation. Elena works full-time as a furniture maker, while Arj edits documentaries. Gabriel watches over them as Arj enjoys his time with her. After dinner, Arj returns to his car parked in a supermarket lot, his makeshift home. His father calls to ask how he's doing, and Arj lies, saying he lives in an apartment. He then falls asleep listening to a boring podcast, while Gabriel continues to watch from above. Elsewhere, angels of different departments gather together: the head of tsunamis, the overseer of avalanches, and others. One of them, the Angel of Lost Souls, shares a story about how he helped a person rediscover the purpose of their life. Gabriel listens with envy, wishing he could do something as meaningful. Later, Gabriel approaches Martha, another angel, asking if he can take on a task like Azrael, helping lost souls find their way. Martha warns him that it isn't easy to find a truly lost soul. Gabriel insists, telling her about Arj and his daily struggles, how Arj seems ready to give up on life. Gabriel adds that this week he's also assigned to save a woman named Elena, who will soon crash into a telephone pole if not stopped. Meanwhile, Arj continues taking on all sorts of jobs. He's eventually kicked out of the parking lot where he was sleeping and starts using a gym just to shower. Even there, Gabriel watches him closely. One day, Arj takes on a garage organization task. A wealthy man named Jeff opens the door and recognizes Arj from the bun shop earlier. Jeff shows Arj around his garage and goes through his daily routine: cold plunges, sauna sessions, while Arj cleans diligently. Impressed by Arj's work, Jeff offers him some burrata cheese and asks if he'd like to continue working for him. When Arj asks if he needs an assistant, Jeff replies that he has plenty of things to do. Arj says confidently, "I'll do it," and Jeff, liking his attitude, agrees to keep him on trial for a week. Arj begins doing everything efficiently, booking George Clooney shaman for Jeff, completing every task on time, and managing details with precision. Jeff is impressed and decides to hire him permanently. He tells Arj that he works as an investor for several companies. He started with a friend, and that's how he built his fortune. Later, Arj moves into a cheap motel. One evening, he receives a call from Elena, who tells him she had a small car accident but is fine and invites him to meet the next day. The following morning, as Arj packs his clothes, Jeff shows him a case and gives him a password for a gum safe, warning him about homeless people nearby. He also tells him to make a bar reservation for Saturday. When Arj asks if he can go out for lunch, he's planning a taco date with Elena. Jeff gets excited for him, gives him one of his jackets for the occasion, and wishes him luck. Arj and Elena meet for lunch. Elena jokingly said she hated him for being late. Arj is stunned by the expensive prices at the restaurant Jeff had recommended, but the two decide to share their meal. The total comes to $335, and Arj insists on paying, using Jeff's card that he had kept earlier. That evening, back at Jeff's house, Arj notices the walls covered with Jeff's photos. Suddenly, Jeff calls him and angrily fires him, accusing him of using his credit card for personal expenses. Desperate, Arj donates plasma for some quick cash. Meanwhile, Jeff attends a strange cult meetup. Arj later falls asleep inside a restaurant, only to discover when he wakes that his car has been towed and he's received another parking ticket. Devastated, Arj feels hopeless. Watching from above, Gabriel finally realized he has found his lost soul. He approaches Arj and reveals himself, showing his wings and claiming to be an angel sent to save him. Gabriel shows Arj visions of his possible future: working steadily, moving in with Elena, adopting a dog that later needs surgery they can't afford.
Seeing this, Arj becomes disheartened, asking if life will always be this way. Gabriel, now breaking heavenly laws by interfering too deeply, explains that angel status is reflected in the size of their wings. He then takes Arj to show him Jeff's true life. Arj wakes up in a luxurious car wearing a suit and drives to Jeff's mansion. Inside, he realizes their roles have been reversed. Now Jeff works for him, and Arj's photos adorn the walls. Gabriel explains that Arj will remain himself in spirit, but everything else will be Jeff's life. He'll check back at the end of the week. Arj begins living Jeff's life and thrives. In business meetings, he speaks confidently with clients, impressing everyone. Gabriel watches secretly, uneasy. Whenever Arj faces a challenge, he simply solves it with money, surprising Gabriel, who expected him to struggle. Thinking Arj might still miss his old life, Gabriel encourages Arj to reconnect with Elena, who doesn't know him now. Arj approaches her again and they immediately hit it off. They go on a date to the same restaurant as before. This time, their meal was paid by the house. As the week passes, Gabriel asks Arj if he wants to go back to his old life, but Arj refuses. He's realized he can return any time if he wishes, and Gabriel no longer has the power to force him. When Gabriel confides in Martha about the situation, it triggers a chain reaction that disrupts the celestial order. As punishment, Gabriel loses his wings. The next day, Arj was hosting a pool party when he noticed that Gabriel had lost his wings. Gabriel, feeling helpless, told Jeff that the situation was unfair to him and decided to show Jeff the harsh reality of what was happening, shocking him to his core. Jeff was so overwhelmed that he fainted. When he woke up, he was stunned and immediately demanded his life back. Realizing now that Arj had been living in a car, Jeff offered $200,000 to get his old life returned. But Gabriel explained that if they switched back, Jeff wouldn't remember anything. He also reminded him that he couldn't send anyone to hell no matter what. After both of them trying to convince Arj, he finally agreed, but asked for a few more days to enjoy this new life. Jeff accepted the offer, thinking he could handle living Arj's life for a little while longer. Meanwhile, Gabriel had lost all his powers and asked Jeff if he could move in with him. Jeff agreed, and the two shared a single room and even a bed in a hotel.
The next morning, an old lady knocked on their door and threw them out because they were out of money. With nowhere to go, Jeff waited in line for food while doing gig tasks as Arj once did. Together, they did all kinds of small jobs just to earn a few dollars. Jeff soon began to understand what kind of life Arj had truly been living. Frustrated by the endless cheap labor, he realized how difficult it was just to get by. He learned that payments only came at the end of the week, and with no place left to stay, he ended up sleeping in the car. Meanwhile, Arj proposed to Elena that they travel to Paris, but she refused, saying she had work to do. From Arj's tone, she sensed that he looked down on her life, even though he no longer fought for his own, and she walked away. Distracted and hurt, Arj began texting while driving and got into an accident. Gabriel appeared to Jeff, explaining that Arj was now in a coma and they would have to wait until he woke up before switching back. Because of the incident, Gabriel was fired from his angel duties. He was told that only if Arj decided to return to his life could Gabriel become an angel again. Until then, he would live as a human. For the first time, Gabriel experienced what it was like to be truly human, to feel hunger, fear, and exhaustion. Terrified and broke, he panicked. Jeff tried to reassure him, suggesting a plan. He would visit the companies he had once invested in, propose new ideas, and get hired right away. But the next day, Jeff was thrown out of the company. 3 weeks passed, and Jeff didn't receive a single reply to his job applications. During that time, Gabriel became obsessed with the internet, fascinated by everything he found. Jeff, frustrated, told him he couldn't support both of them anymore, and that Gabriel needed to find a job. Gabriel eventually got hired as a dishwasher and proudly earned his first paycheck. But he soon realized that one job wasn't enough to survive. He needed multiple jobs just to cover his expenses. Meanwhile, Arj finally came out of his coma. When Jeff and Gabriel checked in on his health, Arj asked the nurse if memory loss was common after an accident. Later, Jeff discovered through his food delivery app that Arj had been discharged from the hospital. He went to Arj's home where Arj pretended not to recognize him due to memory problems and handed him a pamphlet about dealing with memory loss. Confused, Jeff returned to Gabriel and told him what had happened. Gabriel seemed defeated and ready to give up, but Jeff encouraged him to keep fighting for his life back. Then Gabriel had an idea. If he could correct Elena's path, which he was originally meant to do, maybe Arj and Jeff's destinies would also fall back into place. Gabriel went to Elena's workplace where a union meeting was being held. Elena passionately spoke about how hard they worked for so little pay.
Suddenly, Gabriel interrupted, giving a motivational pep talk that stunned everyone. When someone asked what department he worked in, he admitted he didn't work there at all and was immediately thrown out. Later, the union's vote for a pay raise failed. Disheartened, Gabriel went drinking, where his co-worker Felipe tried to comfort him, saying everything would be okay. Gabriel confessed that he wanted his old job back and wished he could fix the mess he had made. That night, Felipe took him to a party to cheer him up. There, Gabriel danced freely and met the woman whose life he had once saved when she was texting and driving. Meanwhile, Jeff received a message from his food delivery app stating that his account had been terminated and replaced by robot couriers. For the first time, Jeff understood the struggle of millions who lost their jobs like this and began missing his old life. He then received a parking ticket and his car was towed, the same events that had once happened to Arj. Seeing the parallels, Jeff decided to retrieve his watches and attend his own birthday party, thinking Arj wouldn't recognize anyone after the accident. At the party, Gabriel watched Arj dance and noticed the man beside him, the same one who had met Arj earlier at the gym. Elena, now working as a waitress, approached Arj and wished him a happy birthday. Later, Arj sat alone until Leonard approached him. Arj opened up about his failed relationship with Elena. As the party ended, Elena, concerned about him lying down alone, stayed behind. They shared a quiet dance after everyone had left. She told him that her rent had gone up. She had lost her apartment and was now living in her cousin's car. She said she once dreamed of going to Paris, but chose instead to fight for people like him to help others reach the same heights. Her words deeply affected Arj, leaving him lost in thought. That night, as Arj slept, Jeff quietly sneaked into his room to steal his watches back. Mistaking him for a thief, Arj fired a gun, remembering Jeff's words, "Shoot first, talk later." This moment revealed all their secrets. At the hospital, Arj finally decided to switch lives back. But Gabriel told him that they couldn't do it yet because Arj still didn't fully understand the worth of his own life, and he felt guilty about Jeff. Arj suggested they live together until the right time came. Soon, all three, Arj, Jeff, and Gabriel, moved in together. They shared meals, laughter, and moments of peace. Jeff was happy to have them both close again. One day, Martha appeared to Gabriel and told him that she had seen everything. She explained that a lost soul doesn't always need an angel. Sometimes it just needs another person. Gabriel didn't understand her words immediately. Later, while they were having dinner at a local shop, Arj saw Elena again. She told him she was reorganizing the union and would keep fighting until change happened. That evening, all of them went out dancing. Gabriel, now skilled at dancing, moved gracefully across the floor. But Arj noticed something was wrong with him and asked him what was bothering him. Gabriel admitted that if he went back to being an angel, he wouldn't get his car or possessions back. His mission would be complete and they would never see each other again. He confessed that he loved human life as well as Jeff and Arj. He wished another angel like Azrael had helped him. But Arj told him he was glad it was Gabriel and that he wanted to give life another try. Even with all the struggles, he said he wanted to be Arj instead of Jeff. Suddenly, he found himself back in the parking lot where the switch had first taken place. Jeff too switched back to his life. Jeff received a parking ticket for Arj's car, but saw that the fine had already been paid. Arj finally told his father the truth that he had been struggling. His father comforted him, saying he would be okay. Jeff, on the other hand, decided to make changes in the food delivery app, demanding that drivers be paid more and threatening to stop investing if they refused. Having seen the struggles of ordinary people, he wanted to make a difference. Arj quit his gig jobs and began pursuing his passion, writing a blog about the gig economy. He spent happy, peaceful days with his father and Elena. In the end, he left Gabriel's favorite taco as a tribute. And the movie ends.